Hi, I'm Sara Marks. I'm the author of the 21st Century Austen rom-com series. For each book, I like to do a video about the dedication for each book. I call this Behind the Dedication. Today, I'm going to share with you more about the dedication for book 6 in the series, Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy. If you haven't read it yet, it is a modernized gender swap of Pride and Prejudice set around candy and candy making and candy stores. And it turns a lot of tropes on its head, or at least one or two. But Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy is dedicated to my Aunt Sue. It's been over a decade since my Aunt Sue passed away, and over a decade since I started writing, in the hopes of publishing my books. Sue was my father's youngest sister. She was the youngest of 5. She lived at home the longest and was a constant in my life. There are 8 grandchildren, of which I am the oldest. There was nobody between Sue and me in the family, so it always felt like she was mine first. I remember family trips from Miami, where we would drive 3 days to visit all of our family in the Northeast. While my mother was from the Boston area, my father was from Peekskill, New York. All our family was still there in my childhood. So we'd stop in Peekskill for a few days before going up to Boston for a few more, and then we'd stop again on the way down. My grandparents at the time, in most of my memories, lived in this amazing Victorian home. Sue had her own bedroom, and since I was sleeping in a shared bedroom with my sister, the idea of having my own bedroom was a dream, literally sometimes. But when we visited, because all 3 bedrooms in the house were occupied, my sister and I slept in camp beds right outside of Sue's room. We loved going into Sue's room and spending time with her. It always felt like a young woman's room. I don't remember details, but it always felt purple. Sue was our family baker. She worked in a restaurant that was known for her pies, or for their pies, which she learned to make. And when my grandparents moved to Florida, as I was becoming a teenager, she came with them and lived with them while she finished an accounting program at a trade school. We thought she was the coolest because she had a waterbed and a Jeep. And she had this cute little Yorkie named Pebbles who came with her everywhere. She would drive 2 hours across the tip of Florida to come visit us, and we'd drive in her Jeep listening to New Kids on the Block, which she swore she loved as much as we did. And even though we know she spent lots of time with the other grandchildren, when she was with us, she was ours. But all those memories are the memories of a child. She was far more complex than I knew. She remained the unmarried and child-free aunt all her life. I often assumed she was just single. But as I got older and made my own choices that were strikingly similar, I realized the complexity that I had never seen. When I was about 15, she packed up her stuff and moved to Montana. I don't recall how she made the decision or why she felt she needed to get that far away, but I get it. I've not wanted to be around my family. And then after living away for more than a decade, she moved back to Florida to help take care of her parents. That's where she was living when she passed away in her sleep. I like to imagine that, like me, she watched the others around her and didn't want to repeat the mistakes or fall into the same patterns. I want her to be as fiercely independent as I am. But I never got to interact with her much as an adult. The last time I saw her was at a wedding for her older sister, my aunt, and just spending the few hours with her. I look at all my aunts and uncles and think of the choices they made. Not all of them were good. Some of them were criminal. Some of them were just trauma. When it comes to my Aunt Sue, it's her health and her death that motivated me to take more control over my body and health. It's because of her I started going to the gym, trying to get my body in better shape. Just as she might not have wanted the lives her sisters had, I don't want the death Sue had. There were so many lessons I've learned from her. I learned that I can be as independent as I want to be. I learned that you can choose your dreams and change them. I might not have ever understood her desire to move to Montana, but she was happy there. She loved it. Most importantly, I learned the type of aunt I want to be. I want to make my niece feel like she's always going to be safe with me, that I'm hers. I want to be the one who shares experiences and passions with her, even if I don't feel the same way. It is because Sue, amongst other people, yes, but it is because of Sue that I am the woman I am today. And that is why Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy is dedicated to my Aunt Sue.